one-on-one time with the gallery and were able to get work experience in whatever interests you were about the gallery. So for me, it ended up morphing in from wanting to be a photographer turned painter, sculptor. And then when I finally graduated from my degree, I was quickly moving into curatorial experience. So for me, the gallery that I first worked with was very kind of experimental in art forms and art disciplines. They were a very big leader in performance art, not performing arts, but performance art, kind of the more alternative, kind of weirder discipline. But it was so much fun working with them. And they weren't an Indigenous gallery. So I really feel like if people are interested in it, like I'll put some links in the chat of some places that if people are interested in, just to look at Grunt Gallery, because it is kind of a very open-minded, non-specific kind of cultural art gallery. They really focus on equity, diversification, and inclusiveness. So so they look at all types of artists and all types of disciplines, and they're very open-minded about who they work with and who they bring into the galleries. So so I worked with them for about 10 years, and then I was really starting to feel like I wanted to move around a bit more. And at that time, Indigenous curators weren't fully supported. It was still kind of hit of a glass ceiling, so to speak, just feeling like limited spaces I could go and be interested in and work with. So I thought maybe what might help me kind of get a bit more experiments is that, or my work experience, is to go for my master's in art history, which I specialize in curatorial studies. And by that point, I fully immersed into curatorial practice and kind of shifted away from being a maker or a visual artist of sorts. So and so I was going through my PhD. I haven't even done one yet. My MA, master's, and I was almost finished. And I applied for a curatorial residency. One of our major funders in Canada, called Canada Council for the Arts, offers a program just specifically designated to Indigenous curators or people who are interested in becoming a curator. And you can try and choose of a gallery of your choosing to work at. And that happened to be a specialized program that the National Gallery of Canada was putting out. And I was actually very fortunate. There was only 3 applicants for the residency. And so I had a very good chance of getting in. So I went to Ottawa and worked at the National Gallery of Canada for a year and a half, and it was great. I got to work with the collections. They asked me to do a bunch of research on my own curatorial interests and practice, and then eventually led into being able to produce an exhibition while I was there. So super exciting. I got to meet so many people, and it was such a great networking experience for me. Unfortunately, nearing the end of my residency, it didn't fully turn into a position there. But one of my friends was working at an Artisan center, kind of similar to Grunt Gallery, which I mentioned. It's called Urban Shaman Contemporary Aboriginal Art Gallery, and that was in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I went there, moved there, and we were co-curators, co-directors for about a year before she decided to move on. And then I fully took over the position as director there. So yes, so I spent 10 years there, 10 long, hard years, but it was really great in understanding and meeting an array of different galleries across Canada. Obviously, I specialize in Indigenous artists, so got to meet many, many Indigenous artists within Canada and internationally. And then also just getting to practice, kind of be more experimental in my curatorial practice and the choices I was making. So some of the projects I worked with was very kind of more politically based. We did we'd go out into the city outside of the gallery and go work in the city and put up projects. We worked with a lot of universities. We had a lot of partnerships where we really tried to get Indigenous contemporary art and kind of Indigenous culture out into and to kind of be an educational resource as well. So It was a lot of work, and I'm very proud of what it accomplished in 10 years. But COVID came along, and as I'm sure everybody kind of felt the brain frazzle from that experience, I was really wanting just to get back home and to just be closer to my family. And I was having a hard time trying to, once again, try to find some work in Alberta. And so a position came up at the Institute of American Indian Arts down in Santa Fe, New Mexico, the States. And I managed to be able to move down. I applied for the position, I got it. And so I was program manager for the Artisan residency program. So once I was down in Santa Fe, I spent a year and a half in the States, and I got to learn stateside of the art scene, the art market, which is more commercially based. I feel like in Canada, we're very fortunate because we get a lot of art grants that we can support our careers, but people in America really have to hustle for their arts practice. And so thank you. Just seeing all the comments come in. And just give me the heads up when I'm getting close to 10 minutes. And
it's almost there. You're about a 9 minutes mark. No, great. What an amazing and inspiring journey. So Dana, tell us, have you been in your experience with art in your profession, have you indulged in anything relating trade with artifacts or artisans?
I think also that's why with my more smaller arts gallery practice, before I moved to the States, I was very kind of specialized, and I like sourced out the artists I wanted to work with. And I mean, the art practices that I've worked with have been very experimental, but I've also worked with more traditionally based arts too, with just like, beading and carving and things like that. So it's been a whole array of people and different types of like arts skills that I've worked with. But I feel like when I was in the States, like that really kind of showed me like the Santa Fe is very filled with Indigenous artists that really do base their practice in traditional knowledge and cultural practices. So, and they really do like have to have a business mind to sell themselves and their art. So,
sure.
Yeah.
But that's wonderful. We'll get back to you at the interactive session, because I definitely have some questions, and I know that I'm already, getting questions online as well. So we'll connect back with you.
Sure.
Let's hear from Rabia Dastagir. Rabia, all yours.
Okay, so good morning in Pakistan and good evening in Vancouver, Canada. I'm Rabia Dastagir. I have a fashion degree, but beyond that, I have over 15 years of apparel experience. So as a clothing manufacturer and designer. So, but I think the point that I want to cover today is being an immigrant from Pakistan to Canada and how I felt there was a huge gap in how we identified with ourselves culturally and professionally, and what all I kind of had to adapt to and learn from when I moved to Canada. So my today's session, आज मैं focus करूंगी कि मैं बहुत easy small tools में अपनी conversation को break down करूं ताकि all the students in Pakistan, all aspirants who want to be entrepreneurs in their life ahead, they want to take leadership roles, especially women. So I'm going to really break it down into simple tools today. And Bushra, I would touch with you a little bit because I have a work experience with you, which is going to be very significant. So the first thing that I would want to say in this journey has been the gap. There's a geographical gap in between Pakistan and Canada, but there's also a cultural gap. The environment is completely different. The weather is completely different. The lifestyle, how people live, breathe, how they find purpose through their work and family and self is very different. So, jab Pakistani hamare talented design field mein, especially because we're talking about art and design today, we are creative people, and a lot of times we don't know how to communicate. A lot of times we don't know how to present ourselves. So the key here would be the first point that I want to raise is making sure that you have a differentiator. What that means is कि मेरा प्रोडक्ट कोई क्यों खरीदेगा या मेरी सर्विस कोई क्यों लेगा. how am I different from all the other industry veterans sitting there in Pakistan? Pakistan has over 10,000 textile manufacturers. So what is so different about me that people would want to come and engage with me and partner with me? And for women generally, I want to tell them that our cultural identity is actually an asset for us. And in the first few years of my career, I wanted to fit in so bad. I wanted to talk like them. I wanted to kind of leave behind my own cultural, my personality. But what I learned is that professionally, yes, I want to learn all the tools that my clients want from me. But as a person, as an individual, I want to really hone into who I am as a person, where I belong from, and what resources and what experiences I bring from Pakistan with me. I'll give you a very simple example. So when I was doing my first fashion show in Vancouver Fashion Week, I went with a very ethnic line, which was, I'm a Baloch, so it was Baloch inspired. It was called Wandering Life. It basically covered how displaced you feel after moving countries, and some part of you is left in Pakistan and some part of you has been dragged here to a new country, and you're kind of feeling split and you don't know which identity to pick and choose. But I got a lot of positive feedback on that first collection, but none of it was selling. And from my second collection, I figured out that मुझे अपने product को differentiate करना पड़ेगा for the Canadian market. So I researched what they do. I researched into the weather. Either आपको पता है, it's outdoor, it's going to be rainy, people love hiking, people are bicycling, they're outdoorsy people. So वहाँ पे मैं cotton, खद्दर, linen के कपड़े नहीं बेच सकती उनको. So what I did, I converted my design element, which is my cultural identity, into prints. And then I printed them onto polyester wicking antimicrobial t-shirts, which were performance driven, into leggings and into tops, which people can wear here, into bomber jackets, which they can wear outside in the rain. And the response I got was amazing, because that's where I found a differentiator. So the first point is you need to find how you're different from everybody else out there in the league. The second point, which is very important, is collaborate. This one I really want to touch on for all the women in Pakistan, because I've noticed men, they are found in cafes, अपने friends के साथ और अपने peers के साथ, they're generally talking about, you know what, let's do business together. You do my marketing, I'll do the IT, I'll make a product, I'll speak to the clients, I'll do the sales. So men have been trained in Pakistan to be very entrepreneurial, and they have that confidence. They like to team up with their fellow other men. But women generally, when they're together, and no offense, I've been one of them, we talk about our problems. We focus on hurdles instead of looking at possibilities. So that is one thing that we need to learn. And Canada आके मुझे ये समझ आई, and especially I wanted to touch towards my collaboration with Bushra in PWCTA, we need to build our team. And every individual has a strength that I won't have, and I have a strength that they won't have. So finding your strength and then finding your team member who's going to help you take us all up together. And Bushra, I would like you to put in a few more comments, because in PWCTA, Bushra is like our leader. She's that force who goes out and she has a very different energy. She gets a lot of traction from people. Whereas I like to stay on the back end. I want to put down my notes and put some administrative structures together. But we work great as a team. I can't do what she does and she can do. And that's where I think we women need to be each other's support instead of competing with each other, because otherwise we won't be able to stand tall. We won't be able to grow.
It's very true, Rabia. Just the other day at the office, हम ये बात कर रहे थे कि पाकिस्तान की companies collaborate नहीं करती हैं. वो आपस में ये नहीं कह रही होती कि you do this, instead of they just want to do everything together, and in the end it's just a colossal failure. And it's very true with मेरी और तुम्हारी अगर सिर्फ बात की जाए, तो it's very true कि शुरू में मैं कहती थी, राबिया, how is she seeing this side? मेरा तो दिमाग कभी जा नहीं सकता वहाँ पे. Like, she gets it. Like, and then as I work more with you, I realized, okay, this is what I bring to the table. And this is my differentiating factor. And Rabia brings this, and this is why it's such a beautiful synergy. And I'm with you 100%.
Thank you. Yes. So if you notice, both the points are kind of converging into each other. But again, knowing your strength and then also knowing strength in others. We need to team up. Hum log, usually women burn out because we like to work in isolation. We don't like to team up. And I know one of our other panelists here, Soul Sister Pakistan, Kaval is an example of working as a team, and she loves to collaborate. Anyway, I know I'm running short on time. So my third point goes out to all our Pakistani students and entrepreneurs, aspirants looking at us today, is we need to learn to see value in asking questions. So the North American client or businesses, they don't want to deal with you if you continue to tell them that, you know what, okay, sure, I'll do it. Okay, sure, I figured it out. Because they're expecting you to ask questions. They want you to know more about them. They want you कि आप उनके brand को समझो, आप उनकी need को समझो. Why are they looking at this product? Like I said earlier on, Pakistan में 10,000 से ज़्यादा mills हैं. They're all making t-shirts. Bangladesh is cheaper. India is faster. Why would they come to me? And what we don't realize is that Pakistan mein there's this super awesome IT industry. There's this, so why don't we use IT as a factor in our business to ensure that हमारा product different है? आप अपने आप से question करो कि जो मैं product बेच रही हूँ क्या मैं खुद खरीदूंगी? And that's your biggest test. That is why. That is the importance of why. Because a lot of times I'm throwing a presentation to my client and I'm like, would I like to buy this? Would I be my own client? And it doesn't hit home to me. And that's where I think it's very important to question, find out more, and improve yourself in a way, collaborate with other smart businesses. And I'll give you an example. हम लोगों को एक textile का project मिला. Again, a lot of competition because it was a uniform project. जिसमें कोई, we had to make like millions of units. And it was a price-driven product. T-shirts banani thi. Bangladesh is very competitive. So the factory partner that we chose in Pakistan, they were able to use जो उनके factory में जब cuttings होती है ना, और जो cotton सारा scrap waste में चला जाता है, they were recycling that yarn and they were converting it into T-shirts again. So that story was able to help us sell the same product, even though we were a little more expensive than Bangladesh. But I think that why anybody would buy it is a very important question. We need to add purpose to our product. We need to add value to our product. Lastly, the one very important point that all of you young fellows need to remember is self-evaluation. हम लोगों को पाकिस्तान में, when we're studying in school, when we're going to colleges, somehow there's a concept that the faster you submit your paper, the better you are. सबसे पहले एग्जाम करके निकल जाएंगे, सबसे पहले जवाब देंगे, अभी टीचर का क्वेश्चन खत्म नहीं हुआ, सबसे पहले हाथ खड़ा, like there is some हमारी conditioning ऐसी हुई है कि we need to be the first one. We don't listen, we don't wait. And that has been our biggest, I would say, hurdle. हम लोग बहुत अच्छी research करेंगे, we'll create a really good product, but before submission, we'll rush it and we won't check it. A lot of times I've seen my Pakistani counterparts, they make a submission, everything is really good, but they haven't done a QC check, and there are spelling errors, there are some really basic, stupid mistakes, जो कि आपका दुनिया में जो आपका client है, उनको आपका impression आ रहा है कि you don't have any attention to detail. So you basically आप अपना खुद ही नुकसान कर रहे हो by not checking your work. And checking your work comes in another area too. आप जब अपना काम कर रहे हो, each project takes me 3 hours. Research, execution, design, and uski presentation. And if my client is asking me if you can do 10 of those, and I don't have that many hours in a day, and I'm saying yes, that I will, I'm never going to be able to deliver. There's just 24 hours in a day. So we need to always break our processes down in how much time it's going to take, how many steps are involved, and only commit to what we can easily do. That is another tool that we need to learn from men, because they balance their lives a lot better than women do. They have a healthier friend circle. They have a healthier hobby always. And then they give work a portion of their life. And North American individuals are very, very organized. They have a very good way of organizing their systems, their calendars, their work back schedules. And I think we can learn a lot from there. Lastly, in the self-evaluation tool, because I have a lot of freelancers working for me in Pakistan, I have noticed that they don't have any interest in recording their own progress. What that means is that yahan pe my Canadian boss is yes, my work is awesome. I brought in like $2 million of sales. But when they're doing my annual review, end of the year, they want a paper where I've shown them my progress. They want a paper where they need me to show them in writing where I started, how long I took, what I learned, and how I evolved. We don't do that in Pakistan. हमें लगता है कि okay, my employer knows what I did, but we need to start putting it down in paper. We need to start reporting our progress, because my boss is not going to do that for me. I have to start writing what my task was, what I did, how long it took me to do, and that would help me improve. So I know I'm getting a little bit over time, so I'm going to stop there. But I'll just quickly summarize. There's a lot of value in having your cultural identity. Women have this awesome empathetic side to them, which helps them grow in businesses. We complement the masculine, the very corporate side of industry. We bring in a very nice balance to our offices. We need to keep that. We don't need to follow men for no reason, but we also need to find a differentiator. We need to be collaborative. We need to find our strength, and we need to continue to self-evolve and learn from our mistakes.
This was amazing, Rabia. You know, we've known each other for a good 5-6 years. We worked together, and you know, a lot of these things that I didn't know about you, and also we learn, you know, from each other every single day. Not just you and I, but like when we work together in silos, I think we're limiting our learning and our growth in a way. We had some great feedback from Fiza Nadeem. Thank you, Fiza, for joining. Of course, you know, love to hear the positive फीडबैक. मोहम्मद उमर ने ये सवाल किया है कि क्या कोलैबोरेशन की जा सकती है from, you know, artisans from Pakistan to Canada. तो उसके बारे में मैं ये कहूंगी कि जी बिल्कुल की जा सकती है, और ये जो हमारी एक पूरी सीरीज की पायलट एपिसोड है, ये आगे चल के this will grow into more informative sessions where we're drilling down step by step process of how to do this. And that's one of the reasons why we took Dana Carr here on this session, because she's already working with such women artisans in Canada. So she's a great asset to anybody, any of the artisans in Pakistan जो ये यहाँ काम करना चाहती हैं, collaborations जैसे राबिया ने कहा form करना चाहती हैं. So we have people like Rabia, Dana, and next we'll hear from Kaval. So, you know, these are all the assets that you can actually tap into. So ये हमारा पहला pilot episode है. We will grow this, and you will see कि इसमें हम more depth किस तरह लाएंगे आगे चल के. Thank you, Rabia. I'm looking forward to hearing from Kamal. Kamal Ahmed, very excited.
Hi, everyone. So I just want to clarify, it is past midnight in Toronto. तो अगर मेरी शक्ल या मेरी बातों से लग रहा है कि मैं बिल्कुल नींद में हूँ, तो I'm actually very sleepy. I know that it's morning in Pakistan though. Anyway, so I'll give you a bit of background. I started Soul Sisters Pakistan almost 11 years ago. And initially it was just supposed to be a space where women came, they shared their ideas, their stories, and, you know, we just connected, bonded, all of that. But over the years, what I noticed was that it also became a space for collaboration. I'm really glad that Rabia actually went before me, and, you know, she shared a little bit about how we as women must collaborate. और उससे मुझे एक बहुत interesting story भी याद आई. 2018 था शायद, ये 2019 था, और हम लोग ने एक event organize किया था कराची में for women, and there were about 500 women there. And when you come to a Soul Sisters event, usually the tickets sell out in 5 minutes or 6 minutes flat. So most women do not get a ticket for their friends. आप मुश्किल से एक टिकट ले पाते हैं. तो अक्सर लोग ये शिकायत भी करते थे कि हमें टिकट मिल गई, हमारे दोस्त को नहीं मिली, अब हम क्या करें, हम आके बोर हो जाएंगे. और मैं हमेशा यही कहती थी कि no, this is an opportunity for you to meet more people and get to know more people. So anyway, at the event, I remember, you know, everything went really well. And later on, I always get feedback from people who've attended. So these girls reached out and they said that, you know, Kaval, at the event, the four of us met each other. We hung out in the entire event. And even though we were from such different backgrounds and we were so different, we all just connected. And now we aren't just very close friends. They had decided to start a business together. It was some catering business. And that just made my heart so happy, because
you never know where the possibility to meet someone, to learn from their ideas, and kind of realize that, oh, they have this potential and I have this potential. So here's where we can connect and where we can grow. So, I mean, when Rabia said that women should get out there, find people they can partner with, share ideas, and collaborate, it just reminded me of that story. But anyway, coming back to my topic, which was assigned to me, was all about storytelling and the science of storytelling. I just want to tell you that storytelling is very easy. I think a lot of people don't realize कि आपके ब्रांड के अंदर कितना ज़्यादा पावर है और जब आप डिफरेंशिएशन की बात करते हैं या अपना यूनिक सेलिंग पॉइंट की बात करते हैं a lot of it has to do with your brand story also. A lot of the times the most basic products in the market, yeah, the most basic things in the market, the only reason why they're rising to the top is because they have a good story or that they've built a really good community. And the brand story is what tells your customers why you are, who you are and why you exist. I remember that in 2018, when I started the Soul Sisters Pakistan blog, मैंने सबसे पहले सोचा कि यार ब्लॉग में क्या बनाऊं, मैं अपने ब्लॉग में क्या डालूं ऐसा जो यू नो जो लोगों को पढ़ना होगा. तो मैंने कुछ न्यूज़पेपर्स खोले, कुछ और मैगजीन्स खोली, मैंने देखा कि अच्छा ये लोग ये लिखते हैं, वो बंदा ये लिखता है. And then I started doing exactly what they were doing. And I didn't succeed. My sub-editor and I would do article after article. And we would just fail. Like nobody would come on our blog. We'd get no traffic. Although Hamara Soul Sisters ka group was amazing. It had millions of conversations every month. Lekin blog pe koi aata hi nahi tha. And then one day, just out of the blue, very randomly, I took out some insights from the Soul Sisters community, and I wrote a very heartfelt passage about it, and I posted it on the blog. And the next thing I knew, there was like thousands of people hitting the button, going on the website. I mean, hamara footfall on that particular blog post was insane. And I realized that मैं हर जगह अपनी स्टोरी ढूंढ रही थी, उस न्यूज़पेपर में ढूंढ रही थी, इस मैगजीन में ढूंढ रही थी, उसका स्टाइल देख रही थी कि वो किस तरह लिखता है, but actually the story was inside of me. All I had to do was find that one moment where I sat, connected with my thoughts and told my story to the audience. And here's the thing, like a lot of people reach out to me, they ask me कि भाई आप बताएं हम किस तरह से अपने ब्रांड का क्राफ्ट करें, हम किस तरह से इसको डिज़ाइन करें. And yes, logo, colors, all of these things are great. आप बेशक खुद करें, ग्राफिक डिज़ाइनर हायर करें, अब तो AI भी इतना आगे आ गया, कैनवा जैसे टूल्स बन गए. All of that contributes to your brand story and it's great. But in this day and age, जब millions of brands exist करते हैं, literally अगर आप lip gloss बनाना चाह रहे हैं, lip gloss बेचना चाह रहे हैं, तो कोई millions of brands are out there making a lip gloss. What sets you apart? Why are you different? That is what your brand story is. And in this day of social media, people look for authenticity. क्योंकि बाकी सब चीज़ें तो हमारी लाइफ में फेक हो गई हैं ना, हर जगह फिल्टर्स लग गए हैं, everything seems like it's not real because everything around us is behind a screen. So what sets you apart is your authenticity, your honesty, and your truth. And I've seen that some of the biggest brands over the last few years, particularly when COVID hit, were brands that were homegrown. I don't know how many of our audience members today are on TikTok, but I've literally seen teenagers on TikTok sitting at home, coming up with just, a business idea like making slime, and then building their entire story around it. और ये 16 साल के बच्चे हैं, and all they're doing is honestly sitting there showing their audience how they're making their product. They're not even hiding it कि हम क्या ingredients डाल रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं. They're just putting things together, showing it to their audience, and then they're selling out. I remember there's this one girl, she used to make slime, and some of her biggest orders came from celebrities ke bacche in Hollywood. And she was just literally making it out of her kitchen. Similarly, there is this woman here in Canada. She makes a hair oil, and that hair oil is supposed to promote hair growth. And she started her brand by honestly showing what she had been through. She had been through extreme hair loss. She had bald patches, and her entire process of making that hair oil was because she was trying to tackle a problem on her own. So not only was her story so emotional, lekin her product was also coming from a place of truth. And that's so important. I think that right now a lot of people also try to find shortcuts. They think कि चलो मैं ना एक क्लोथिंग ब्रांड बनाना चाहती हूँ, इसको मैं चाइना से इंपोर्ट करवा लेती हूँ, पाकिस्तान से एक्सपोर्ट करा लेती हूँ, जो भी प्राइवेट लेबल करवा लूंगी, बनी बनाई डिजाइन होगी, 50 लोग खरीद लेंगे और ठीक है, ये वाला ब्रांड आपका जो आपने बनाया है, इसका मॉडल चल भी जाएगा, मे बी इट यू विल सेल 50 shirts or 100 shirts or maybe 1,000 shirts, but a brand like that cannot live. It's not memorable. Nobody will want to like 5 years later, nobody will know who you are. You were probably a fad. People, probably like used or bought from you sometimes or when you were popular. But ultimately, does that brand get to live? No, it doesn't. The brands that live are the brands that have community and the brands that have a story. And when we talk about community, a community is a place that you make specifically for your loyal customers. I know आजकल वो ज़माना आ गया है कि आप 10 products influencers को भेजें, उनको बोलें आप share कर दें हमारे बारे में और आपको फौरन orders आ जाएंगे. लेकिन that does not build a community. That builds a hype. Hype और community में बहुत फ़र्क है. So community बनाने के लिए you have to be patient. You have to give time, you have to put in efforts, you have to build private or safe spaces. और safe spaces का मतलब ये नहीं कि वहाँ पे सब बैठ के अपने घर की बातें करेंगे, नहीं, वो भी एक safe space होती है, वो अलग तरह की safe space होती है. But आप अपनी community बनाएंगे एक safe space according to your product. So if your product is about beauty, your community is going to be about beauty. You're going to talk about things, you're going to solve people's problems around their beauty, or you're going to give them points कि भाई आपने आज इस टॉपिक पे बात की है तो आपको 5 पॉइंट्स मिलने और जब आपके 100 पॉइंट्स हो जाएंगे तो मैं आपको मुफ्त एक लिप ग्लॉस भिजवाऊंगी. What I'm technically saying is that when you care about your customers and you show it to them by providing a safe space, by giving them a good product, and by yourself being authentic and truthful and having a powerful story, you're going to succeed as a business owner, and I can guarantee you that. I think I have pretty much crossed my time limit, so if you're around, yeah. I'm okay to stop speaking now.
Kamal, I really enjoyed your story, and it's very true, not just in business world. I think even as anything that you do, अगर आप originality lose कर रहे हैं और अपनी the thing that makes you you, the very ingredient that makes you you, I think कहीं भी success is I think it's a hard to get. So I really, it really hit home because my tagline, I always tell people, this is something I'll put on my gravestone, is I always say to everybody, like I'll say to my daughter, I'll say to everybody that the young kids that I meet, that be you, whatever is you, what makes you you, be that person and, have that ingredient shine. So it was lovely hearing from you. Kamal, we'll connect back with all our lovely ladies and speakers in just about a minute. Thank you so much once again. Before we start an interactive session, we're just going to say hello to our new guests. We have Mr. Michael Ozark. Michael, are you here? And here he is. Hi, Mike.
Hi, how are you?
Good. And thank you so much for doing this on Sunday. And are you in Islamabad or are you in Canada?
No, I'm in Islamabad right now.
Okay. Michael, why don't you give us a quick rundown, a very quick interview of who you are and what is it that you do?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me, Bushra. So my name is Mike Lazark. I'm the Commercial Counselor and Senior Trade Commissioner here at the High Commission of Canada. Essentially, what I wanted to do was just provide the audience and participants with a quick overview of what Canada is doing in the space of women's economic empowerment and support for female entrepreneurs. I guess as a bit of a context, it'd be useful to give a background on Canada-Pakistan relations a bit broadly, and then I'll move into a few specific words on our programs and support for female entrepreneurs and exporters. So, as some of you know, Canada and Pakistan enjoy a strong and multifaceted bilateral relationship that is underpinned by extensive people-to-people ties. There are over 300,000 Canadians of Pakistani origin living in Canada, and we've had the pleasure of hearing from a few of those this evening and this morning. In terms of gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls, Canada is committed to promoting gender equality, the socio-economic empowerment of women and girls, and female entrepreneurship. And to share with you today, I'm going to give you a couple of words on the programs that we offer. So in the area of trade policy, Canada has been a leader in trying to address the issue of gender equality in its international trade agreements by, one, working to include standalone chapters on trade and gender, and mainstreaming gender by including other gender-related provisions across those treaties. In order to support women's economic empowerment and entrepreneurship within Canada, the government has developed a women entrepreneurship strategy. That's something that was relatively recent. It's only a couple of years old. It encompasses nearly $7 billion in investments and commitments. The women entrepreneurship strategy is designed to increase Canadian women-owned businesses' access to financing, networks, and expertise that they need to start up, to scale up, and access new markets, both domestically and internationally. The Women Entrepreneurship Strategy incorporates a number of programs and initiatives, including the Inclusive Women's Venture Capital Initiative, which funds projects to strengthen and build more inclusive venture capital environment for Canadian women. The Women's Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, which lends up to $50,000 to Canadian women business owners and entrepreneurs. The WES Ecosystem Fund links Canadian female entrepreneurs to networks and mentors that can provide support and assistance in growing their businesses. And the Women's Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub, which is a one-stop shop source for knowledge, data, and best practices for women's entrepreneurs. So over the past couple of years, that Women Entrepreneur Strategy has delivered more than 9,000 loans, more than 70,000 services, and arranged more than 800 networking and learning events focused on female entrepreneurship. I'll just close by providing a very quick overview of, from the TCS side, the Trade Commissioner Service side, what we do abroad. And we have what's called the Business Women in International Trade Initiative. It's designed to complement the Women Entrepreneurship Strategy, and it aims to assist Canadian women-owned and women-led businesses to successfully expand into the global markets. This support can take a variety of forms, including the planning and delivery of women-focused business missions, conferences, and events, and to preferential access to certain funding programs such as our Canadian Export Initiative. So I hope that the points that I shared today have helped our audience understand not only the importance that the Government of Canada places on facilitating women's economic empowerment, but some of the initiatives that have been put in place to advance that objective. It was amazing to hear about and learn from the speakers' wonderful journeys. And by learning from each other, we can all more effectively contribute to the advancement of women's economic empowerment, both at home and abroad. So thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I'll turn it over to you, Usha. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mike. Mike and I have had various meetings on trade, and we go around in circles all the time, but I thought that we should take Mike on this call because people should know that, Canada has these amazing funds and opportunities that you talked about, Mike. And don't go anywhere because we have some questions for you. And just on that one thing, I want to ask you one quick question on, you talked about a whole bunch of opportunities and funds that Canada provides. Does Canada has anything through their embassies and their offices into the, for example, in Pakistan, for the women based in Pakistan? Do they have any kind of funding, any kind of mentorship program for those women?
So for funding, we don't specifically have any funding directed there, but what we can do and what we have done in the past is we work collaboratively with Canadian women entrepreneurs and business people, and when we can either bring them together if there are business missions that are coming from Canada, we are always more than happy to facilitate those kind of connections. Similarly, we've got, as you have done today, virtually supporting these types of initiatives that allow participants on both sides to learn from each other's experiences and to share best practices that will hopefully lead to greater women's economic empowerment.
That's wonderful, Mike. Let me tell you one thing. I'll come back to you, but we have a whole bunch of people sending us Facebook questions about, they want a list of all these funds that you talked about. So whenever you have time, if you can send me whatever the note that you're reading from, send me on email and I'll post it on our website. And I'm also, as a woman entrepreneur, I would love to, explore those.
Sure.
And get, I'll connect back to you within a minute. We're just going to introduce another guest. We will now hear from Mr. Salman Sufi of Salman Sufi Foundation. Salman, if you don't mind, आपसे मैं उर्दू में बात करूंगी क्योंकि हमारे बहुत से सुनने वाले पाकिस्तान से हैं, तो आप अगर हमें थोड़ा सा ये बताएं कि आपकी फाउंडेशन ने विमेन एम्पावरमेंट पे और उनकी सिक्योरिटी पे और बहुत काम किया है. तो आपके आने से पहले मैंने थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दिया था, but let's hear from the horse's mouth. So please बताइए.
Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya for having me. It's a great event that you guys are hosting, and hello to everyone who's attending and listening. Just طرح آپ نے کہا کہ women empowerment and especially entrepreneurship is a big challenge in Pakistan, especially given the issues that Pakistani women face. اس میں ہماری فاؤنڈیشن جو ہے وہ بڑے اسپیسیفک ایشوز کے اوپر کام کرتی ہے. لائک ہماری کوشش یہ ہوتی ہے کہ ہم بیسکس کو پہلے ایڈریس کریں تاکہ خواتین کو جو بیسک ایشوز فیس کرتی ہیں وہ کسی بھی چیز کے لیے، وہ چاہے بزنس ہو، کالج جانا ہو، کوئی بھی ان کا مسئلہ ہو، تو ان کی بیسک جو ضروریات ہیں وہ پہلے اس کو ٹارگٹ کیا جائے تاکہ جب وہ کسی بھی فیلڈ میں جانا چاہیں تو ان کو پھر وہ بیسک ایشوز سے مبرہ ہوں. تو ہماری فاؤنڈیشن نے اس لیے جو پروجیکٹس جو انٹروڈیوس کرواتی ہے اس میں سب سے پہلے ہمارا جو فلیگ شپ پروجیکٹ ہے وومن آن ویلز کا ہے، کہ جس میں ہم خاص طور پہ لوور مڈل کلاس اور مڈل کلاس خواتین کو موٹر بائک کی ٹریننگ دیتے ہیں. اب ہم کیونکہ کینیڈا اور پاکستان کی اس وقت بات کر رہے ہیں تو اس وقت میجورٹی آڈینس جو پاکستان میں ہے یا کینیڈا میں ہے، انفارچونیٹلی یہ چیز اتنی آبویس نہیں ہوتی کہ یہ کتنا بڑا ایشو ہے پاکستان میں موبلٹی کا خواتین کے لیے، خاص طور پہ پبلک ٹرانسپورٹ جو کہ ہر صوبے میں اتنی ایکسٹینسولی موجود نہیں ہے. تو آپ نے کوئی بھی کام کرنا ہو تو آپ کو اپنے جو مرد حضرات ہیں ان کا سہارا لینا پڑتا ہے. تو آپ جب تک موبلٹی نہیں دیں گی خواتین کو تو انٹرپرینیورشپ یا پالیٹکس یا بزنس یا ایجوکیشن اینی تھنگ وہ ریڈنڈنٹ ہو جائے گی، بیکاز وہ ڈپینڈنٹ ہوں گی اپنے میل کاؤنٹر پارٹس کے لیے. تو اسی لیے فائنینشیل انڈیپینڈنس کے لیے سب سے پہلے ضروری ہے موبلٹی، جو کہ ہم اپنے پروگرام وومن آن ویلز کے تھرو پرووائڈ کرتے ہیں. سیکنڈ اسٹیپ ہمارا آ جاتا ہے پبلک سینیٹیشن کا، کہ جو خواتین کا نمبر 2 ایشو ہے کہ اگر ایک عورت اب بزنس کرنے نکلی ہے، وہ جاب کر رہی ہے یا وہ انٹرپرینور ہے، اب وہ باہر جا رہی ہے، وہ مارکیٹ میں ہے، وہ آفیسز میں ہے، تو دیر از نو پبلک باتھ روم فار ویمن. So اس لیے the foundation has started working since past couple of years on an initiative called صاف بات، جس میں ہم نے کراچی، لاہور اور فیصل آباد میں public toilets for especially tailored to women جو اسٹیبلش کیے ہیں تاکہ ان کو یہ پرابلم نہ ہو. Obviously it's a small venture compared to the problem that we're facing in Pakistan. لیکن we are the first foundation کہ جس نے اس چیز پہ کام کیا ہے، اور ہماری کوشش ہے کہ ہم باقی بھی شہروں میں اس کو لے کے آگے بڑھیں. اینڈ اسپیسیفکلی جو انٹرپرینورشپ اور ٹریڈ کی بات ہے اس میں ہمارے کافی پروجیکٹس جو ہیں وہ انڈر پائپ لائن ہیں، جس میں ہمارا ایک پروجیکٹ بلگیریا اور اٹلی میں ایک آرگنائزیشن ہے ایمیٹار فاؤنڈیشن، ان کے ساتھ ہمارا MOU ہے، جس میں ہم ایک ای کامرس ویب سائٹ کے اوپر کام کر رہے ہیں جو کہ ایکسکلوسیو ایکسیس دے گی پاکستان کی خواتین کو. اس میں انڈین خواتین بھی شامل ہوں گی لیکن پاکستان خواتین ہوں گی، کہ جن کو ایکسکلوسیو ایکسیس دی جائے گی کہ وداؤٹ اینی پیئنگ اینی فیس، کہ جس طرح اگر اب وہ امیزون پہ مارکیٹ پلیس پہ جاتی ہیں تو اگر آپ کوئی بھی چیز سیل کریں تو یو ہیو ٹو پے اے سرٹن فی. لیکن پاکستانی انٹرپرینور جو خواتین ہوں گی ان کو ایک اسپیسیفک فیسلٹی دی جائے گی کہ اگر ان کا تھریش ہولڈ, ان کا ایک بزنس ایک سرٹن لیول سے نیچے ہے تو ان کو کوئی فیس چارج نہیں کی جائے گی, اور وہ ہماری ڈونیشنز کے تھرو ہم اس کے جو اخراجات ہیں وہ پورے کریں گے, کیونکہ ہماری کوشش ہوگی وہ اس تھریش ہولڈ سے اوپر آئیں, اور جب وہ ایک سکسیزفل بزنس کو ایکسیکیوٹ کر لیں گی تو پھر وہ اپنی فیس جو ہے وہ دینا شروع کریں گی. اس کے علاوہ آپ کی آرگنائزیشن کے ساتھ ہمارا جو MOU 1 مہینہ پہلے ہوا ہے, سو دیٹس آلسو اندر اسٹیپ جو ہم نے لیا ہے, اور اسی طرح کے اسٹیپس ہیں جو ہم ان شاء اللہ فیوچر میں بھی ہم لیتے رہیں گے.
That's very wonderful, Salman. Great to hear, for about all these amazing things جو آپ کر رہے ہیں. You're very right کہ ہم بیسکس کو جب تک نہیں ٹیپ کریں گے, ان کو نہیں ایڈریس کریں گے, تو باقی کی چیزیں, باقی نو ہاؤ انفارمیشن وہ بعد میں آتی ہے. سو I think ہم ہول سرکل آج ہم نے پورا کیا ہے کہ کہاں ہم بیسکس we partnered with organizations and foundations such as yourself جو basic needs provide کر رہے ہیں, اور اس کے بعد ہم گورنمنٹ لیول پہ کیا ان کو سپورٹ دے سکتے ہیں, آئیڈیاز لیول پہ کیا سپورٹ دے سکتے ہیں, اینڈ دین ایگزیکیوشن پہ. So it's been wonderful. We do have some questions for you. Just stay tuned. ابھی میں لینا چاہوں گی ہمارے کونسل جنرل آف پاکستان ان وینکوور جہاں خان صاحب کو, اور ان سے بھی سنتے ہیں کہ اس سارے ایپیسوڈس میں ان کی کیا انپٹ ہے, اینڈ ویئر ڈز ہی تھنک کہ ان کا کیا رول ہو سکتا ہے اس میں.
السلام علیکم لیڈیز اینڈ جینٹلمین. Good morning in Pakistan and good evening here. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. Every journey, har safar starts with the first step, pehla qadam. Pakistan Western Canada Trade Association jo Vancouver mein based hai, is such a one step. This is pehla qadam hai wo jo trade, commerce and employment opportunities, business opportunities کے لیے لیا گیا ہے. It is my honor, یہ میرا فخر سے میں یہ بات کرتا ہوں کہ the heart and soul of this organization, یعنی کہ اس organization کی جو دل و جان ہے, جو اس کو ڈرائیونگ فورس ہے, they are the women. Bushra, Rabia and their teams have done a brilliant and outstanding job. جہاں تک کونسل جنرل کا کام ہے یا فیسیلیٹیشن کا ہے, we are here to serve Pakistanis and Pakistan Canada business, political and other relationships. یہ ہمارا کام ہے کہ ہم یہ برجز بنائیں جن کے اوپر پاکستان ویسٹرن کینیڈا ٹریڈ ایسوسیشن جیسی آرگنائزیشنز چلیں اور اپنے حصول ایم کی طرف پہنچے. اسی لائن میں کونسلیٹ جنرل نے ان کولیبریشن ود پاکستان ویسٹرن کینیڈا ٹریڈ ایسوسیشن اسمال میڈیم انٹرپرائز فائنانس فورم جو کہ which is under the IFC of the World Bank have also signed an MOU, and the aim of that MOU is to design a training program in collaboration with SMEFF, PWCTA, organization like Salman Sufi Saab's, and local banks in Pakistan to initiate a process and to train to جو باتیں رابعہ نے کی ہیں, جو باتیں کمل نے کی ہیں, جو آپ سب نے کی ہیں, especially our friend from Canada who have spoken about these things, to build a system in a way that our women entrepreneurs in Pakistan are trained to do business not only in Pakistan but globally, with special focus to North America, and the credit goes to these amazing women who are leading this organization. My compliments and my well wishes, and we will always be here as the Consul General of Pakistan and the government of Pakistan to help support, to empower women not only in Pakistan for Pakistan, but women in Pakistan for global reach and global outreach. Thank you.
بہت شکریہ جہاں صاحب. I always say کہ آپ you need the right, آپ نے وہ دیکھی چیز اور ٹرسٹ کیا جب لوگ آپ کو کہتے تھے کہ آپ ایک لڑکی پہ ٹرسٹ کر رہے ہیں اس مشن کے ساتھ, اس ٹورچ کے ساتھ, and I think you were the visionary who saw کہ who was going to do this job, and I agree with you کہ Rabia and I have done a great job that no other man could have done. Apart from these jokes, I do have a question for Michael. Mike, we've had some bunch of questions, so I'm going to pick 4 or 5 for everybody that's sitting in the audience. I'll start with you, Michael Lazoric. And same question for you, Dana, is what was your perception of Pakistan before your first interaction with a Pakistani, and how did it evolve?
Just listening to conversations, amazing. The other 2 speakers, women speakers, are just hearing how they've come about to their own professional careers is just incredible. So I already have like this really great appreciation for the arts that is coming out of Pakistan. I just think that just what the information the other 2 speakers gave on just being able to, I'm so relieved to hear that there's this organization that exists for women to bridge the gaps between the 2 countries, as well as all this information from Mike. I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to use this for the rest of us artists here. Just having those business and professional opportunities to capitalize on is so incredible. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that. Just some other things I was thinking of is maybe some of the older artists that have been, a little more recognized, if they're willing to work with the younger emerging artists, because it's hard to get yourself out there just to start, so if there's people that, they can talk to or look at like any kind of write-ups about how they view their work, and maybe somebody can get a friend to read that might help to kind of make it more business sounding, like getting the word out, like making your work sound very, very interesting. So yeah, those are some of the quick, fast things that came to mind for me.
That's wonderful, Dana. And you know what? I am also very happy that you're here. We're getting a bunch of questions. And a lot of women from Pakistan want to know, like, what are the resources that we can connect to? So, and I think you are, and I believe that you are a great resource for them to connect, to you. And we'll find those bridges, and we'll find ways and reasons to keep connecting. I was gonna take Michael Lazoric for the same question. Mike, after being in Pakistan, I've been seeing you there for 3 years now. How is your experience with the women in Pakistan specifically? Is Mike here? Okay. All right. We'll wait till he connects again. He's in Pakistan, so you never know. Maybe he lost the connection. So let's take a question from Salman. Mr. Sufi, we would like to know if your foundation offers any training programs or any sort of projects tailored towards addressing the diverse needs and aspirations for women in different regions of Pakistan. And this is a question from one of the folks that are tuned in.
Yes, we do actually. Even right now, we are working with University of Cambridge. We are launching another project with them, which will be starting in, I think, right after Ramadan. But it's of a different level. It's not specifically related to trade. But we have different programs with the TEVTA in Pakistan. It's a big organization of Government of Punjab, because I've worked with Government of Punjab before as well. So we'll keep on collaborating with them, and we have vocational training program. And right now, our main focus is nurses. So we have been talking with a few organizations in Qatar and in UAE. To train our nurses, because there's a big demand of nurses in those countries, and they mostly import them from Philippines and Kerala and India. But Pakistan has a huge, potential in that regard. So we are working with TEFTA and a few of the organizations I've mentioned to train the nurses in Pakistan. Apart from that, we have projects with the USAID and UNDP. Through which we can offer them different kind of trainings as far as CAD is concerned. CAD is like the software that architectural firms use. So we give them training to join those firms as well. But most importantly, the training that we have, which I mentioned as well before, that it's for the mobility. And that's free of cost. So they can join that training, get mobile, and then they can do whatever they want to do.
That is very wonderful. I hope कि बहुत सी औरतों ने ख़वातीन ने पाकिस्तान में ये सुना हो कि मोबिलिटी की ट्रेनिंग अवेलेबल है एट फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। आप सलमान सूफी फाउंडेशन को रीच कर सकते हैं और क्या क्या प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं उनके, और कोई भी ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट जिसके बारे में किसी भी स्पीकर ने आज बात की है तो आप रीच आउट करें हमारी एसोसिएशन को। वो हम आपको उसके से मुताबिक जितनी भी इंफॉर्मेशन और रिसोर्सेज हमारे पास हैं हम कनेक्ट करेंगे। सो कोई मुझे बता दे when Mike is back, if he's back, I'll ask him a question. But कमल आपसे एक सवाल कर लेते हैं right before we go to Rabia. And आपसे सवाल ये है कि in your experience, do women really reach out to you from Pakistan and wanting to start a business in Canada? And how have your associations or your platform helped those women?
That's actually a really interesting question. And while my work is primarily focused for women in Pakistan, about 3 months ago, I collaborated with immigration specialists as well as startup consultants over here to have a webinar for women in Pakistan who were looking to bring their businesses, particularly within the tech or physical product sector, to Canada. And it's very interesting because we had about like 400 or 500 signups for the event. We had to start canceling and telling people that our mark was the 300 number because we also wanted to make sure that we had enough time to answer people's questions and that we didn't have too many people who were just lined up and not getting value for that time. But what I'm essentially saying is that I discovered the potential in all of these women wanting to somehow be connected to Canada or be doing some form of trade or be looking for an opportunity here. So it really opened up my eyes to that. And although that was the first time we did such an event, I believe it was October of 2023. But I am planning a lot more such events where people can get connected to others here who are already within the business or startup or entrepreneurship space, and they can then find ways to bridge the gap or find opportunities within one another. For example, one of the more interesting conversations that came about was between somebody there who has a shop and somebody who is in the tech industry here who wanted to build an e-commerce shop and platform for her over here. So, I mean, such collaborations can always happen even within communities like mine, where essentially the conversations aren't exactly about business, but we did definitely see a big potential there.
Oh, this is wonderful. Like Rabia and you and pretty much all of the speakers said that it is about collaborating, right? It is about finding the connections. It is about getting out of our silos and looking around and finding, where we can create this magic and taking it forward. Rabia, let's take a last question from you and then we'll get closing remarks from Jama Sab. So Rabia, tell us, जब आपके पास Canadian companies आती हैं, क्या या एक पोटेंशियल बायर आता है, क्या उनको इस चीज से रिजर्वेशन होती है कि पाकिस्तान में पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी है या वहां का कि हम अगर ऑर्डर देंगे व्हाट्स गोना हैपन टू ऑर्डर, इज गोना गेट स्टक, आर वी गोना गेट या फिर अदर देन पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी या जो भी कंटिजेंट फैक्टर्स हैं, डज दैट बिकम एन इशू?
Yes, it does. Because if I be 100% honest, Pakistan does not have a very good marketing strategy. There's been a lot of bad word out there, which has stuck with people, and nobody's doing much to kind of clear it out. So, because most of my clients want to send one of their employees to the factory to ensure that the labor rights are in place, the factory is fully compliant, wahan pe audits ho rahe hain, wahan pe tests ho rahe hain, wahan pe it's safe to visit it. So they kind of hesitate going to Pakistan. Yahan tak ke tourism ke lihaz se, they don't understand that there is a lot of skiing opportunity in Pakistan. There's a lot of beautiful destinations which are outdoorsy, which they can explore, like North American sector would love to explore that. And I think that is where PWCTA brought in the first expo last year. We worked really hard. And what people don't realize is ke everything takes a process. It takes time. So first time when you come and you land here, you may not get a lot of orders, but coming here and showing your presence and becoming that one entity that people start identifying, is very important. That's part of your marketing presence. That's part of your image. And this year, again, we're doing our second expo, which is going to be in the convention center, which is much bigger. We're focusing on some key industries. So I really, really encourage Pakistani businesses and organizations to come and participate and show what you have, because there's a dire need to improve that image. Which it's really sad, and it does affect our relationships with North American companies.
It's very true, Rabia. I think it's a long road ahead where, folks like all of us here on this call have embarked on a journey where we want to fix that image and we want to clear for Pakistan, because we know that Pakistan has so much to offer, and it's and हम इसको fix करना चाहते हैं अपनी capacity में, and मुझे भी लगता है कि जो बंदा अपनी capacity में जो भी कर सके, he or she should. हमें बहुत से questions आ रहे हैं. Dana, we just got a question for you from Varda. So we'll just kind of have to email that question to you and get a response. We're over a 1 hour mark. Let's get a closing statement from Mr. Jambaz Khan, and all the questions that I could not send to folks. And Dana just answered on the chat. I will send it to Varda Imran, and we'll have a list of all the questions that were missed. We'll send it to all of the folks here who join, and I'll connect later on. Again, this was a pilot episode. Please know that this series will continue, and we'll add more and more depth in it as we go along. Jambaz Saab, over to you.
Thank you very much, Bushra. I will let you have the last word, but I will just give this information to Ms. Warren over here, is that there are Pakistani painters and artists who would love to come to Vancouver and give talks. And they are not run-of-the-mill or anything, but really, really top-end artists who have got their exhibitions being done in New York and all Paris and everywhere else. As to what Sudhisa was saying, Pakistan Western Canada Trade Association has just initiated a program of a process in which, God willing, we will be signing an MOU with the governments of Alberta and the government of British Columbia, where in nursing and plumbing and other staff, electricians will be trained in Pakistan, hopefully by the Canadian trainers, so that they can be smoothed into the Canadian job market. A lot of things are going. Pakistan Western Canada Trade Association is taking a lead on all these things. Once again, my personal compliments. Ms. Warren, if you want to get in touch with me, please get in touch with me. I'll introduce you to some top-end Pakistani artists, and you can then collaborate with them for them to either come here, have their exhibition, or come here, train people, or even train people in Pakistan for you as well. Thank you very much. Over to Bushra. The last word is yours.
The last word. Okay. Well, because it's a women-centric webinar, it's only fitting that a woman gives the last word. So thank you. I'm very honored. It was certainly an honor to host our very first pilot episode for the series that will teach हमारी ख़वातीन, sorry मैं उर्दू में switch कर रही हूँ, हमारी ख़वातीन जो पाकिस्तान से इसको देख रही हैं और वो ये जानना चाहती हैं कि किस तरीके से वो नॉर्थ अमेरिकन मार्केट में कोलैबोरेशन ढूंढ सकती हैं और पार्टनर्स ढूंढ सकती हैं, और किस तरीके से अपना प्रोडक्ट, अगर वो कुछ भी बनाती हैं या सर्विस है, वो किस तरीके से यहाँ पे उसको लॉन्च कर सकते हैं. तो आई थिंक आज जो हमने पहली चीज सीखी, अगर मैं इसका एक एसेंस या इसका एक क्रक्स निकालूं, तो ये होगा कि find partnerships and find collaboration and have your product or service that has, sorry, what's the differentiating factor, what's the you in your product or service, and then find collaboration. आज हमारी ये 2 lessons थे. इसके बाद inshallah, when we have our second series and we move forward with that, we'll add more depth. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kamal. I think Kamal probably just fell asleep. It's probably very late there. Kamal, you're here. Thank you, Mr. Salman. Thank you, Jambaz Khan. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Rabia. And thank you for our administrative team that's working, behind the scenes. Mr. Mir, you were amazing. Thank you once again. Good night.
Good night.